When you plan to use the MIRAI robot control system to solve an automation task, imagine the task divided into sections. The robot's native controller will steer sections of the task with the predetermined movements. The MIRAI controller will steer other sections. We use MIRAI for the complex sections with variance, when things in the workspace aren't predictable. The robot's native controller can't handle these complex sections. For each complex section in a task, we train a MIRAI skill. A MIRAI skill is an ability of a robot to perform in real time a movement that can deal with variance. A skill is trained through human demonstration. During the task, the native control program transfers control of the robot to MIRAI to handle the complex section. Once MIRAI has completed the skill, it hands back control to the native program. How does MIRAI know when to hand back? End states. An end state is a condition that a MIRAI-powered robot reaches at the end of a skill. At that point, MIRAI knows to hand control of the robot back to the native controller. There are 4 types of end states. In this video, we go through all of them. Before we do, 2 notes. 1, for every MIRAI skill you train, you have to set an end state in the MIRAI training app. If you don't, MIRAI won't know when to end the skill. I'll show you how to set an end state in a minute. 2, you choose an end state after you've trained your skill. That being said, during the planning phase of your project, it's a good idea to think about how you want MIRAI to know when to stop executing the skill. Here are the different end states. The first is visual end state, recognition. This one makes use of machine learning and the industrial camera attached to your robot. During training, images are recorded by the camera and uploaded to the Micropsy Industries computing cloud. There, we use the image data to train a mathematical model that guides the robot when it performs the movement. The model instructs the robot how to respond to any situation that may come up. When you enable a visual end state in the app, the same mathematical model that guides the robot also recognizes if the skill is done. When MIRAI sees the workplace through the camera, it estimates over and over how likely it is that the skill is complete. Using this slider, you define how much evidence it takes for MIRAI to be convinced that it should stop the skill execution. When the slider is set to very high, MIRAI will only stop if it's very certain the task is complete. When the slider is set to very low, MIRAI will stop as soon as it sees even weak evidence that the task is complete. You want to aim for the highest possible value. 0.7 is a good start. If your skill appears to hesitate near its end, try lowering the value. Another way to stop a skill is through a force-based end state. Once the true center point encounters a certain force, MIRAI will stop the skill and hand back control. A force-based end state can be used for tasks that end by touching a surface. For instance, endpoints for surface measurements or insertion. The value of the force threshold can be adjusted between 0 and 100 newtons. You can define whether the skill should stop above or below the value as measured at the force torque sensor. 3 to 5 newtons works best here, depending on how heavy the tool is, how fast it moves, or how much vibration occurs. Then there's the speed-based end state. Once the true center point slows to a speed of your choosing, MIRAI will do the handback. The speed-based threshold value can be adjusted from 0.1 to 100 centimeters per second. It can be set to trigger when exceeding or falling below the threshold. A good start value is 0.5 centimeters per second. If the skill stops too early, lower the value. If the skill appears to hover at the end position, try increasing the value. And what causes the skill to slow down? If you've trained a positioning skill, MIRAI will automatically slow it down when the tool center point is close to the target. If you've trained a motion skill, Mirai will have learned to slow down the skill based on your demonstrations. Finally, there's the position-based end state, or when the end effector reaches a desired position in the workspace. A position-based end state can be used for tasks that end when the end effector passes a defined plane. At that point, Mirai knows the skill is complete. This plane can be defined perpendicular to the x, y, or z axis in the base frame. To set a position-based end state, move the robot arm to a position where the threshold should be defined. Tap on the Set Position button in the app to set this position. The x, y, or z value for this position will automatically update. Select an axis. The threshold would be a plane perpendicular to the selected axis. Tap on Apply Settings to set a position-based end state. Below the end states, you'll find time settings. With this one, you tell Mirai, after this many seconds, it's okay to react to the end state. Use this setting to prevent Mirai from ending a skill too early. For almost all cases, the 1 second preset will be fine. Here, you tell Mirai, after this many seconds, end the skill in handback control of the robot no matter what. This setting can be handy when Mirai encounters an unfamiliar scene and isn't confident about how to move. Think of these timeout settings as fallback measures, but do make sure to handle them with care because they would override your end state settings. All end states can be used in parallel. If you use 2 or more simultaneously, the stopping criterion met first will trigger the handback. It's common to use a combination of end states. For instance, visual and speed. The reason is that when you use a Mirai skill for a task, the system should be able to react to all kinds of circumstances. You don't want the program to waver if an outlier target rolls up. When you have executed a skill and are using multiple end states, you can see in the app which end state caused the skill to stop. In this case, the visual end state was triggered. Then you're good to go. Once you have set your end state values and the skill behaves as you want, integrate the skill into the robot program on its native controller. If you need to adjust the end state settings, just go back to the Mirai training app to do that. To recap, for Mirai to know when a skill is done, you have to set an end state. An end state is a condition that a Mirai-powered robot reaches at the end of a skill. At that point, Mirai hands control of the robot back to the native controller. There are 4 types of end states: visual end states, force-based end states, speed-based end states, and position-based end states. Go with the one or the combination that gives you the most seamless handback. Thanks for your time.